Now, if you've been following the channel at all, you know very well how May ended, and you can probably see it in my eyes and hear it in my voice, but we're going to go ahead and wrap up May anyway. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another monthly wrap-up, this time for the month of May. We are a couple of days late here, but, things have transpired with my personal health. The thing is, I felt fine. It's just, my voice was gone. Like, literally about 48 hours ago, I couldn't even yell downstairs to get anyone's attention. So the house could have been on fire, and I would have died with my books. But I might have done that anyway. But we're going to do what we usually do, guys, and we're going to try to go ahead and wrap up the month of May here. We're going to begin like we do as usual, which is to talk about what I read in May. And I read, let's hear, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I read more than it... I read less than it looks like. I don't know. I guess I read about average, but it looks like more than it is. I finished Memories of Ice by Steven Erikson, Malazan. But I mean, literally, it was like the last 100 pages of that book, which is still a lot for a Malazan book. But, I don't really want to count that one. But Eaters of the Dead by Michael Crichton, 4 Past Midnight by Stephen King, Fall of Hyperion by Dan Simmons, another Michael Crichton. This one was Congo, which I kind of read ahead of to get in front of the next Malazan book. Persepliquus, that's the last Rhaenyra book by Michael J. Solomon, and Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I also started reading the Berserk manga by Kentaro Miura. So as you can see, lots of good books there to choose from. I mean, the Crichton stuff's always going to be high on my list, as is King. You guys know how I feel about these things. I've talked ad nauseum about Memories of Ice on the channel, so I don't think you need me to go further into that. Fall of Hyperion, I'm going to get a little more in-depth in it. If you watch my weekly updates, you know that wasn't too impressed with it. It really did not fill those big shoes that its big brother Hyperion kind of put out there. And of course, Neil Gaiman. Finally read some Neil Gaiman. I had read Sandman before, but a lot of people don't like to count comics, so obviously we're going to talk about Berserk here when I say that. And with me, the thing with Neil Gaiman was never I didn't want to read him. I just never had. So I feel good that I finally got a Neil Gaiman book under my belt. And Stardust was a very charming fairy tale kind of story. I had a good time with it. But guys, there can only be one for Book of the Month. And if you just paid attention there, I just went through all of them except the one that I'm going to give Book of the Month. That is Persepliquus by Michael J. Solomon. Yes, it's the second time this year that Michael J. Solomon has got my Book of the Month. The other one was the book before this. That was Wintertide. I think that was back in like February or March. I don't remember. But guys, this is just a brilliant ending to the Rhaenyra Revelations. So something that I've talked about on the channel a lot recently. I actually spoke with the author of those books recently. It was a great time. But Persepliquus, just it tied up everything in such a satisfying way. So many emotional beats and moments that it hit a home run in every single regard. And it's one of those things where I don't want to say it left the window open for a sequel, because I just spoke with a gentleman, and he's going to keep writing in this universe obviously for a while, but he's writing that way instead of that way. With this, he said, yes, he did know where he wanted to end the series, and he ended it in Persepliquus, and that's the way that it was going to end. So I think it was a very satisfying ending. I can't recommend the series enough. Again, watch that Why You Should Read if you haven't yet, because I really do believe that anyone can enjoy, no matter how jaded you are towards fantasy, you don't really care about fantasy, or you don't like anything unless it's Malazan or something like that, or if you only like Sanderson, you're going to like this, guys. It's for everyone. It truly is. I think that everyone can enjoy it, of all ages. Male, female, alien, whatever, dog, cats living together. You guys will all enjoy it. And Persepliquus absolutely sticks the landing, and I can't preach its choir enough. So that was my Book of the Month, guys. So now that Rhaenyra is done, maybe someone else will get a chance this year. Let's talk about a little bit of channel growth in May. And it's me going to be kind of waving the white flag here on this. Look, now, like I always try to preface this with saying, is that I know there's a lot of channels out there who would love this kind of growth, and they probably sound like I'm complaining here. I follow data and trend lines and things like that. And yeah, this was the lowest numbers since February of 2020, you guys. So, yeah, it's been going down, for about 5 months now. I thought that I would say maybe it'll come back around, but it really does look like we're on the downward slope now as far as growth for the channel goes. 1,602 new subscribers last month. Like I said, lowest since February of 2020. 265,000 views. That's down 10,000 from April. 44,000 hours of watch time is actually up 3,000 hours from April. I think that's because I did so many interviews. But yeah, I think this is the new normal, guys. I mean, it is. It's like, 25, 35 new subs per day. And again, I know a lot of channels would love to have that. For me, this is why, guys, I've been saying that my year-end goal has been 50,000. People are like, I think you're being a little pessimistic. No, I pay attention to the trends, and right now those trends are slowing down tremendously. And like I always tell you guys, I'm not disappointed. This channel has been way more successful than I ever intended for it to be, and I know I've brought a lot of happiness to people, and you have brought a lot of happiness to me. So I'm happy with no matter how many of you are here. I'm glad you're here. I hope you'll stick around because we're going to keep having a good time no matter where the growth goes in the future. Let's move along to the top content for the month of May. Now, I did 17 videos in May. I didn't think it was that much until I actually looked at it because I actually thought it was one that I kind of had gotten a little busy, especially there towards the end. Not only did I get sick, but I was kind of just exhausted. I just had so much going on the month with Cub Scouts and real life things. But yeah, 17 videos. My top video for the month, no surprise here, the book haul for April. Book haul videos always seem to go over well. 11,000 views for that one. Again, I can't say thank you enough when people send me things. And now that I have a P.O. box, I'm getting all kinds of nifty things. And wait till you guys see the book haul for May, because there's some things that I got that you guys are going to be like, what in the world? Because it's something. Next up, an actual original one here. I was actually quite satisfied with this. 9,000 views for my Shadow of the Gods review by John Gwynn. And why I say that was kind of surprising, because it seemed like I was the last person on BookTube to review that book. I actually backed it up to release day, because it seemed like when I was going to do it, like 6 channels that I followed had all posted the reviews that day. And I was like, all right, we're starting to get a little redundant here. What can I say that no one else has heard? So I'm glad you guys still at least check that out. I hope you guys have read the book, because it is one of the best, probably my favorite for the year as far as new releases go. 8,000 views was my 45K live stream. And, obviously that's going to bring in a lot of attention. I talked for 3 hours, so I had a much stronger voice then. Speaking of. Not coffee today, guys. It's tea. And then 8,000 views for ranking Brandon Sanderson's The Cosmere. One of my more thumbs down videos, but anytime you're ranking or you're being critical of anything of Brandon Sanderson, you're going to get some Sandersonians who do not like that. But again, one of my favorites. It's my top 5 fantasy author of all time for me. But yeah, I don't think the man is infallible, but obviously in that video, I only had one that was below what anybody would call amazing, so it was pretty friendly to Sandersonians, I believe. But again, that was something that I wanted to do after I let everything kind of marinate for a while, since I had read the whole thing basically last year, and just kind of let it sink in before I kind of made some final judgments. But it's just because my opinions on the last Stormlight book aren't really on par with a lot of the... I'm not towing the company line on that one, so I expected that a little bit, but that's fine. Lots of good conversation there. As always, guys, it is overwhelmingly positive on this channel. It's 99.1 positive when it comes to response and things like that. With 8,000 views, the Super Secret Shelf Project Part 1. This was the assembly. This was me actually building the shelves. So me reorganizing everything wasn't quite as popular. But I think anytime you do a 2-part video, Part 2 is usually never as popular as Part 1. Don't matter what it is. I mean, even my Wheel of Time videos that I had to break into 2 because they were so long, Part 2s never, ever get as much traffic as a Part 1. It's really, really weird. Maybe I need to wait and do some big reveal in a Part 2 and see if I can break that trend. There are a couple that didn't quite make these numbers that I would consider like a more personal favorite. For me this month, it's the Why You Should Read the Writer of Revelations one. That had 5,000 views. It come a little later, so it might catch up with some of those other ones. But just because when I do a Why You Should Read, I always like to say it's where I'm just trying to sell a really awesome thing to someone else, and that why I think that you're going to like it. And I like to try to save people pleasers for those kind of series. Like even when I did my Dune one, I said it was more of a why I love than a why you should read. Because I don't think everyone's going to love Dune. I think everyone will love Rhaenyra, unless they're just actively trying to prove me wrong, I think. But what I said in that video is I challenge you to read those books and not fall in love with the two leads that he has in that series. They are by far, without a doubt, my favorite duo in all of fantasy. And I've read quite a bit of it, so unless something is coming along that I don't know about yet, I can't see anything knocking off Royce and Hadrian. Those are my guys. So I really enjoy talking to them, and I enjoyed talking to Michael J. Sullivan this month in the interview that we had. We talked for over an hour. Him and his wife joined us, gave us a nice little peek behind the curtain of the publishing game, and that's always stuff that I'm really, really interested in, and I enjoy talking to both of them. Very, very kind people, and just a really, really refreshing discussion. And, of course, my conversation with AP Canavan talking Malazan, that's the longest conversation I've had on this channel, at over 2 hours. And lots of good feedback. Even the author of Malazan himself, Stephen Erickson, even messaged me and said how much he enjoyed that conversation. So that's always a good time, and AP is just genuinely one of the nicest men I have ever talked to. So we're going to get together again and talk about some non-Malazan stuff here in the future. He had talked about me coming on his channel and talking about the movie Man of Steel, because I am a fan and he is not. And I'm like, well, you don't want to argue about it, that's fine, but I can tell you why I like it. But I'm also thinking about having him on to talk about the Wheel of Time, because he has some views on it that I kind of want to put under the microscope, and I haven't actually asked him about that yet. So if he watches this, maybe he'll give me an answer. But that was the top content in May, and guys, that pretty much is most of May. As far as like channel goals in June, like I said, it's been like a 2-year upward growth for this channel. It has never really slowed down. It had big flurries where it really took off, higher and higher, and then it would kind of level out, and then it would kind of go back up. But it really, like I said, now that it seems like we are on the downward trajectory of that slope, I don't really have goals anymore. Now it's just like I want to continue making sure that I do this for fun. This is not a full-time job, and now that we are on that downward slope, the people who ever hoped I was going to do this as a full-time job, I'd say that dream is dying, you guys. Again, I just want to make sure that I continue to make this be a place that feels welcoming for everyone, a very welcoming community. I don't care what you believe in outside of books or any of that stuff, who you are, where you live, what you believe. I want you to feel welcome here. That's it. Let's just talk about some books, you guys. Jump on the Discord server. We're over, almost like 6,000. We're over 6,500 users, I think, now. And it's just a completely positive community. And we just want to continue to be that positive community for people. We want to be that escape that people are having a harder and harder time finding these days. That, and to keep on trucking along with the Malazan channel read-along, started today. I read like 164 pages of this today. And that doesn't usually happen in Malazan books. So quite happy with the way this one has started off. And I think that that's the feedback I'm getting as well. So want to keep on making sure that we keep this a priority every other month now. We're going to be starting a new Malazan book until we finish up in the middle of next year. But guys, that was the month of May. June has a much, much needed vacation, and we're going to talk about it here very, very soon, because I want to tell you that I do have some plans for you guys while I am out of the country. But what are you guys doing? What did you read in May? What is your book of the month for May? That's always the best conversation to have below. Drop in the comments and let me know, and I will talk to you there.